to my very thoughtful world. Listen, I am so excited tonight about my guest. Many of you guys know that I lived in China for 7 years. What you may not have known is how lonely that journey could be. And I am a God girl, so I often pray, and God is a good God because He answers. And I prayed for a solid friend, and He blessed me with one. Now, here's the thing. For years, this is my closest friend, and till this day, I call her my best friend. We have always struggled with one another's name. So this is Miss Titi Layo Ameh.
Ooh, almost. You almost did it. Almost. Titilayo Ameh.
Yes. Yes. So here's the truth. I met TT, almost six years into my first year of being in China, right?
Almost 7 years.
Yeah, so we've been knowing each other for a really long time now.
Yes, it has been. It has been.
However, she introduced herself as TT. Then
Mhm.
later I saw her name and she was calling me Carnissa. Oh no, Carnisha.
With the R. Carnisha.
And because I was so like hard up for friends, I was just like, I'm just gonna let her call me that for a little while.
Bless you. Even till this day, I still struggle. So I get it both ways, where for a long time, I was thinking, this is my dear, dear friend. And I still can't say her name right. And so it's funny the other way around as well.
But here's
Lord.
what we both know. Without a doubt, I know that this woman loves me. And I certainly know that I love her.
Mm.
And there is no way I could have survived Beijing without you. There's just no way.
Vice versa, for sure. I mean, that was quite a journey. And remember the first time we met in Starbucks, and my kids were waiting for me somewhere, and that's the precedent for our relationship, right? We just for hours. And now when I say I'm talking to Auntie Kanisha, my kids are like, okay, see you in 5-6 hours. Like like the whole day is gone. See you, mom.
I have to let Andre know. I'm going to talk to TT. He's like, well, okay, I'm going to go out. I'm going to go get a drink. I'll be back.
That's right. We always have something to talk about. Always. It's like our lives are a podcast in itself. Like every time we talk, it's like a podcast.
The funny thing, we'd always said we was going to do that. Like we was just going to start recording our conversations.
That's right.
Let me tell you, you all need a person in your life who will cause you to rise higher. Period. And TT has done that for me. One of the most sweet moments for me, and this is like a moment that the old Kanisha would have not liked you for, right? But this is true. But the emotional, mature, because I was my awakened self. Oh, I appreciated you so much. I had said something sly because that's my personality. Sometimes I say sly things when I'm trying to attack because I'm not bold enough to say the thing I want to say.
Right.
And in that moment, I remember you pulled me on it. You was like, I don't like it when you do that. And I was like,
wow, I did?
Yes, you did. You did.
I'm like, okay.
Call me my stuff.
What do you remember what it was?
I do remember.
Can you share it?
We had gone to dinner with, you remember how we would have dinner with people that I didn't always feel like was the most genuine. But when you live abroad, you kind of say yes to things because it's better than sitting in the house.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're in those environments with all the women, everybody is saying, we're going to do this and let's do that and let's do that. And I had gotten in the habit of people would say this to me, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to get together. And then it will never come through. And so I have been a couple of times, Joe and I would have these really amazing conversations about, I think like candle making and oils and having women gatherings. And then you would go quiet on me. I was going to have this thing. You're like, oh no, I'm not doing that. No, and you would go to your introverted self.
Oh yes, my turtling.
Yeah, you would go into a shell for like a week or so, and I'm going like, So
Brains is
that night when this conversation was happening, and you was like, "Yeah, we could do this," I was like, "You're not gonna do it. You always say that." But I
mm-hmm,
said it kind of funny and sarcastic, like.
mm-hmm,
And when we walked out, you said, "I didn't like that you did that to me."
mm-hmm,
And I was like, "Okay, I like mature. Okay,
mm-hmm.
stuff." Because I
Yeah.
do like to be called on my stuff. I really do. It doesn't always feel good, but I like to be called higher.
Mm.
And I
And
saw that as a call higher moment. And it also helped me to work very hard not to do that to other people.
interesting because I remember that now. And I remember that being the time in my friendship where I thought, me and this girl can do this because she could handle me bringing, I hope I said it nicely.
It doesn't matter. Like truth, I'm cool with truth just being truth. And how
Yes.
the emotion of how I feel, I will recover when it's
Mm,
done with love, because love doesn't always feel good,
mm,
but it's
mm.
always necessary.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And we've had many more of those conversations, many more. And it's strengthened us to be where we are now because now we just, one thing I love that you do,
What's that?
how we've evolved through the years. You say, TT. The story I'm telling myself is that as soon as you say the story I'm telling myself, I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. But you know why I love it?
Okay.
Because there's ownership there.
Yes.
You're saying that I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. I'm assuming positive intentions while you're turtling again, Titilayo.
Yeah. Yes.
And you haven't contacted me. And I love that because that's what our brain does. It tells us stories. And when you say that, I just feel, oh my goodness, how could I forget my girl? And I'm like, lady, what's up?
Because the emotional work I've done, I have enough sense in me now to know that I'm choosing to believe the story.
Mm,
And sometimes the story feels very true.
yes.
However, I do, and I don't have to give you the benefit of the doubt because I don't believe in benefit of the doubt. What I
Mm,
absolutely know is without a doubt is that you love me.
oh.
And without a doubt, I know that it seems to me that it's never your intention to hurt me.
Mm,
Even if the hurt has to, like, in truth, you would tell me the truth, knowing it may cause me a fraction, but never to destroy me, right?
mm,
I know that about you.
mm.
I never have to give you the benefit of the doubt. I have to allow myself the opportunity to be the courage to text or call and say, "Yo, I'm over here telling myself, and now she ain't got time for Kenesha.
Yeah.
Is that happening?" And you usually go, "Not at all."
Yes.
You
Yes.
know.
And I love that. I love that because it builds relationships. It's about communication. We've had to be vulnerable on all kinds of levels. And I appreciate authenticity in relationships. I do.
Yeah. You've taught me that. And here's the good thing. You taught it to me, and then we live so far apart. I was trying to recreate with other people and holding them to an emotional standard
Oh,
that they be like, if this chick
it's
don't
not easy.
know, because everyone isn't there.
Yes.
And
Yes.
most people would rather, girl, we fine. And then we
Mm.
don't talk forever or they fade away, never to have the hard conversation.
Good point you're making about hard conversations. And this goes all the way to the top.
Yes.
When I work with leaders, a lot of times it's because your inner child, something is getting triggered inside of you. And there's a proverb in Africa that says, when the elephants on top are fighting, it's the grass underneath that suffers.
Oh,
And it is that when you're fighting and you're not able to be in that authentic, vulnerable space, all this conflict happens, people get laid off, you decide that you're not going to work with this person anymore. So much happens because it's hard to step into that arena, as Brené Brown says, of vulnerability. And we've stepped into that arena, and it's not been easy. I do believe that that's been the strength of this relationship. And it encourages me to see, even in my other relationships, that if I can do it with you, I can do it with other people too.
Wow. Wow. Well, I haven't always done that as successfully because
Mm,
I've tried to move into that with others, and then I get gun shy when they shut me down, or when
mm,
I feel they're resistant or they're unwilling to be honest.
mm.
Then I'm like, I can't do it with that one.
Yep.
I don't write them off. I just no longer try to stand in the fullness of who I am with them because
Mm,
I don't feel safe with them. So
right.
we just jumped into our friendship and our love.
We did.
We've never told people who you are. And I usually open up with, please tell everyone what you do.
So I've been a psychotherapist now for almost 18 years. I've now branched into doing more biofeedback therapy, which has to do with a life system. It's a machine that picks up 7,000 stresses in your body, analyzes it in 7 minutes, and it shows you your top four stresses in all your organs. I specialize in doing the emotional stresses because I'm looking again for those inner child wounds, for those emotional wounds that have plagued us from young, even from our mother's wombs, and get triggered in present day. So I help people heal those wounds. I help them rebalance their lifestyles, whether it's through the biofeedback machine, because it does send you a corrective frequency, or whether it's through supplementing or adjusting your lifestyle schedule. And the biggest part that I love the most is about helping people pursue their passions authentically and in alignment with their purpose. Because the amount of people that come to me that feel unfulfilled, because there's all this junk, right? All this stuff on top of the iceberg that they need to clear, and they're not living in that authentic space. It pains me because I have been there myself in very dark places too. And so it's definitely in my passion to want to support that.
And I know you've definitely helped me do that.
Mhm.
I haven't been on your machine, your bio. I haven't done that part, but
Mhm.
you were gracious enough to help Bryson through a really hard time, and I will forever be grateful to you for that.
Mhm.
Um, but let people help people understand, T. What does it mean to live your authentic self, to be in alignment with like who you've been called to be with your dreams, and what does it really mean to not be? Because I don't think people really get it.
Mm. That's a really good question, because to know that you're living in alignment means that you need to be connected to your mind, to your body, and to your soul. And what does that mean? So you're listening to the messages that your body is sending you, particularly when you have ailments or conditions. So these symptoms that come up for us, the headaches, the backache, it's your body's way of saying something isn't quite working right and something's not in balance, and there needs to be a realigning, because there also might be some emotional toxins in there that need to be cleared. So I ask people, how do you know that you're enjoying what you're doing? Where do you feel it in your body? We feel excitement in different parts of our bodies. So when people light up and you see them smiling, or you see something shake in their body, that's a sign that something about what they're sharing, the experiences that they've had, is in alignment with who they are and they really love it. But a lot of times we don't pay attention to these messages in our bodies. We ignore these cues. And when you numb yourself for long enough, as you numb yourself to these cues that come to your body, you also numb yourself to joy, to contentment, to excitement, and you forget what it is that gave you that buzz. So it's important to go back, even to when you were younger, when we were unfiltered and you just had those dreams. I remember I used to do this thing. I used to love the Three Musketeers, D'Artagnan and his Three Musketeers. And I'd make this wooden stick and see how I'm smiling as I'm doing it. And I put it in the bottle. And me and my brother, we'd sword fight. There was a part of me that wanted to be a warrior, a sort of helper of the vulnerable, right? Right from young. And so that brought me into that place where I used to play doctors and nurses, where I was healing people. So even from young, there was this alignment that was unfiltered. It wasn't worried about what people thought or who people thought I needed to be. There was just this innocence of, this is just what I love to do in the moment.
Yeah.
So I think when you're in alignment, you're paying attention to those cues, and you're not allowing responsibilities such as finances or responsibilities with children or your career or just all the things that really bug you down to stop you from living in that flow.
I love it, and I definitely believe you. It's like so much you said, but that whole alignment part. What do you say to the person who grew up? Because definitely in the Christian community, I grew up hearing this a lot. Don't almost like ignore your emotions. Like don't. Um, I don't know if they say don't believe them or don't listen to your emotions. Because then there's truth and there's your feelings, right?
Mm,
Found in my work that true emotions, when you're in alignment,
mm,
from your guide. I really, for me, peace is my guide. It's not just my being, it is my guide. It helps me to know what is real, honest, and true for me.
mm,
It helps me to know when I am moving in the alignment and who I believe God designed me to be,
mm,
so much who society or even the church or even my parents say I am,
mm,
but just that there's a truth for me. And then God is gracious in my life that He reveals, even when I'm like wrong, but even in my wrongness, He may even give me a stillness to bring me back and say, in due time, little girl,
mm,
I will
mm.
reveal to you what you need to know. But I can still trust myself. I don't have to go look outside to other people for that. What do you think know about our emotions that you think most people are either disengaged from or not getting the full benefits of?
So with emotions, from a young age, there's a sense in which there's certain emotions that are allowed and certain ones that aren't. So anger is a good one. Anger, there's this sense in which anger is bad, and if you allow yourself to get angry, you might feel sort of dysregulated and do something that you will regret. However, anger is that fire in your belly that shows you that something isn't quite right. There's a boundary that's been crossed. There's an injustice that maybe has happened. Now, of course, how you use your anger is important, and there's a scale with that, right? If it's not to 10 and you're at a 10, then there's a sense in which let's come back to a 5 to a 4 so that you are responding rather than reacting to the situation, but allowing that emotion of anger to serve you in the sense of giving you an idea of what is right and what's wrong for you in your boundaries, because boundaries are about any needs, any expectations that you have that help you feel safe and comfortable in your environment and your relationships. So the anger is there to show you, actually, there's something about this dynamic that isn't working for me, or this environment that isn't working for me. Let me listen to the anger or the frustration or whatever it is that is arising so that it informs me. It's your friend, it's your helper. It's how we use it that matters. But let it arise, because sometimes we numb these emotions.
Mhm.
And when you numb these emotions, you repress them, and then they come out as different symptoms like depression or anxiety, because again, your body is giving you cues that something's going on. For me, it always happens. Anger, rage, it comes through my face. When I'm pretending like something is not bothering me, I just break out. And that's my sign that there's rage inside. And I, at a young age, was scared of anger because of the way that it was portrayed to me by important people in my life, right? It was really intense. And so whenever I experienced anger, I would just numb it down because I was scared that if I show anger the way I saw that person show anger, then it's going to hurt someone. So I have my own process now with my anger. There are meditations that you can do. I have my bat. Horatio is my bat and my pillow. And when these spots happen and I break out and I realize there's something going on inside of me that needs to come out, and I do this with my clients a lot. I do it gradually because some people are really scared with it because they're worried about not having experiencing high levels of anger.
Yeah.
So for myself, I get my bat out and I'm bashing away. I don't like this. I don't like that. And you can even use words like I hate this. I resent this. You name it to tame it, as Daniel Siegel says. There's a part in your brain that gets fired when you actually acknowledge emotions that happen for you. And I just bash away and just release all this anger and intensity. And then afterwards, because you validated what's going on for you, there's an ease that comes and there's a clarity that comes. And obviously, I also do a compassion meditation that helps me connect with, okay, so what is this here to teach me? Because I do believe that triggers are teachers for growth, for nurture, and for healing. So there's always a self care practice that comes out of first releasing and validating. And then I think, what am I supposed to learn from this situation? Do I need to hug myself? Do I need to drink a cup of tea? Do I need a massage? Whatever it is I need to nurture at the end.
I love it. I love it. I
Mhm.
have learned, I learned a lot myself about, how I hold things. And I'm still discovering about myself. See, I
Mhm.
don't get angry.
Mm.
I do, but not like, not in the moment.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but that it's really strange because I'll be way out of the moment and then like, oh. But I don't react to other people's energy of anger. I guess is what I should
Mhm.
say.
Mhm.
I go
Mm.
quiet. And then I remember when I was in therapy, when I went through like a really tough time, my therapist said, you would rather be angry than sad.
Mm.
And what I've learned about myself is I'm not even comfortable around other people's sadness. And that can be a problem being that I'm a coach.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I have to be very aware that when I enter into my sessions, that I prepare to say, let me be available for all range of what they,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Where I'm not trying to skirt them through. Because historically, I used to try to skirt my clients away from sad.
Yes. Yes.
It's gonna be
Yes.
okay. And no, now it's like I can be here with you.
Mm.
Sorry you're in that. But knowing one of the greatest lessons I learned is they don't need me to make it better. They just need me to create a space for them.
Yes.
And even
I
with my
love.
children, that has been the like coolest thing as a mom.
Mm.
I do not have to make Emery and Bryson's life better.
Mm.
All I have to do is make space for them for whatever they're going through, where they know they have a safe space. And I have not always done that well for my daughter. Um, but I Bryson, I think Bryson would say I've done it fairly well, or he won't tell me. I don't know. Maybe he won't tell me.
Ah.
But I know
Mhm.
for some of it with Nana, the reason I have struggled to do that well with her is because, particularly as she was growing up, I was so uncomfortable with
Mhm.
sadness and hurt emotion
Mhm.
that I couldn't handle hers.
Right.
And so I would sometimes push her away or say, if you need to cry, go to your room. You're welcome
Mm.
to do it, but you have to go do it by yourself. Not
Mm.
recognizing she needed me to be there with her. And so
Mm.
sometimes she was stuffed because she's like, because I knew without a shadow of a doubt that she didn't like to be by herself.
Hmm.
So that means I didn't create a safe space for her to be sad and cry because either she had to pick, am I going to be with my mom and I can't be sad,
Mhm.
sad, and I got to be by myself. So that's a lot to ask a little person to have to pick.
Mm.
So
Yeah. I love that you have that self-awareness because
yeah,
that is the beginning of the healing in itself, is that ability to recognize Oh, this is a struggle that I have. For so a lot of people, even knowing the emotion, firstly, I know it's stereotypically the mad, glad, sad.
Yes.
But these three things, glad is one of the easiest. Mad is the reactive. Sad, depending on how you've grown up and what emotions maybe you've had to sit with even from young, and how it affects you in present day. That can be a tough one to sit in. So having that awareness is so key in knowing, okay, so what are the next steps with this?
Yeah.
Mm,
So, guys, I know you all are watching and you're like, what just happened here? This is what my life has been like, having this amazing woman in my world since
mm.
I really need to figure out the date. Like,
I think it's 6 years.
we moved to China in 2013. I think we met somewhere like 2013, 2014.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So, it's almost,
So
I was 9.
9 years. Oh my goodness, we're getting close to that decade.
We have to, like, as my friend Iman called me years ago and said, "Hey," well, she actually texted me. She's like, "Hey, let's meet somewhere in the world." I,
Yes.
that is my prayer for you and I. Let's meet somewhere in
Mm,
the world where we get to pick our place. And I keep thinking, and you keep thinking it's the UAE. So maybe we just need to pick a time.
we do.
2024. That's what we're gonna
And
do. We have
it
to make
happens.
it. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely. So, T, what would you say is your superpower? And superpower being, what is the thing that you do with ease and well, and it helps other people?
Mm. I would say intuition,
Mm.
spiritual intuition. There's something about people's energy, and because I'm naturally an empath,
Now,
and
tell people what that is, because there may be some people who are watching that's like, well, I don't know what that is.
right. So an empath is someone who tends to absorb people's energy. So you tend to step into someone's shoes, and if you're ungrounded, you over identify with what they're going through. So if they're feeling sadness, and this could be anywhere. This could be on the train, it could be when you're out and about. You'll notice that you're feeling fine, and then you go home and you have a cough and a cold, or you might just be feeling heavy because you've absorbed other people's energy. It's a little bit like vampires sucking blood. If you're not careful and you don't protect your energy field, you just take on a lot, and usually quite sensitive as well. You might tend to have allergies or food sensitivities. Your body, your biochemistry might be quite heightened because possibly at a young age you learned to be hypervigilant because you had to be sure that you were safe. And so you learn to really observe your environment and learn to really pick up cues of when there's danger and when there's not. Mm.
So I interrupted you to explain that as you was explaining your superpower is your intuition.
Yes, yes, yes. Going back to that thought. So I would say that intuition is my superpower because I can be with somebody and I just feel their soul. I don't know how to explain it. I can feel in a sense what their struggles are. I can feel even almost where it's come from because I'm very interested in people's history. So I'm always asking questions about, so who is your dad? Who's your mom? What did they do? You know, I always ask you these questions, right?
I'm
Yeah,
like,
like,
I'm fully aware I'm in, you're therapizing me right now. Yeah, we've
I'm
had
trying not to, but I'm genuinely so curious because I just think we have these patterns that we've developed through the years. And so when I know the whole person, it gets me in the space where I get to understand when they're talking to me in present time, I get to understand what they're going through. I can even get a sense of a vision of where they'd like to get to. And so this is the piece about alignments. When I'm with a person, I can feel the blocks and I can feel the things that are hindering, and so I can see where it is that people want to be in alignment. But of course, like you said, it's not everything that you blurt out from your mouth you mention because you might not be ready on that journey. But I would say that I have quite a connection to people's spirituality.
I would fully agree with you on that. I can still remember there would be times when we would plan to spend the day together or hang out. One of our things that we love to do is go get massages, right? Foot massages.
Yeah.
Miss
Oh,
China for that. But I always I would remember how we might plan that we're going to go into this place or go to this place for dinner. And you would say, I can't go in there right now.
I don't remember that.
Remember that?
Interesting.
Yeah, we might have planned to eat at a certain restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And on my way there, you'd be like, do you mind if we change? Because I can't take that. Like you couldn't, maybe that particular day, you couldn't handle a lot of people. So then we would find some smaller place. Like, Hutongs had the coolest little.
Yes.
But
Wow.
because, and I'm such, like, when it comes to things like that, I really have, I think, grace, because I notice people's energy, but I don't absorb it. I'm very aware when a person, like, honestly, if someone tells me I'm fine, I know when you're not. But I will not feel what you're feeling, because I'm like,
wow. So interesting that you noticed that. You really know me. That is so true. I go into a room and I feel the energy, and there are times where I do have to say, this isn't for me right now. When I'm in a more grounded space, and I think this is also part of that introverted, extroverted side of things, where I don't feed off of people's energy a lot. I really need to be careful how I manage that. Whereas with extroverts, it's just like bring it on. And an interesting thing is I have so many extroverted friends like you who are like, come, let's do this, let's do that. And I love the safety that I have in the relationship to say, sorry, I don't mean to be a killjoy sometimes, but I can't do energy like you, girl.
Yeah.
You can feed and feed. I needed to be at a pace. Yeah.
But what I loved about our friendship is you would teach me to start noticing those things even in myself. Well, because I had just been, like you said, we are creatures of patterns, right? And habits. And very rarely do we question why we do what we do, or if it's even serving me. We don't always ask those questions. And so being in relationship with you challenged me sometimes to ask the question, why do I need? Why is it that I could spend a whole weekend at every party?
Yep.
And be like ready for the next one? And then sometimes it would simply be because when I'm usually at a huge gathering with people, I'm really only connected to one. So it appears that, oh my God, Kanisha's the life of the party. She's in there. No. I make my rounds and then I find my people or person. And so I'm really not in all of it, although it appears that I am.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I enjoy one-on-one.
Yes.
Or small group way more than I enjoy the whole party. So, but people assume that, oh my God, Kanisha like knows. Even my coach, she is always saying, "Oh, Kanisha's such a networker. She knows everybody." I'm like, I really don't. I'm just really comfortable being in the space until I find my person.
Right.
But it appears that I'm cool in the space. I'm comfortable, like I'll be me in the space, but I didn't mean I've worked the room the way most people think I have. Because I will notice, and maybe it's misperception sometimes, like, that they don't want me over there. On this side of the room. So it could be my own, like soul wound of rejection.
Right.
But there are just times when I know. Right. Because there are times when I'm in those spaces, because I know my soul wound, I will push myself to go like, oh, they don't like they feeling me. Oh, let me go meet them anyway. Because it's my internal voice and it's not true. So this has been a wonderful conversation, but I always have great conversations with my friend T. Listen, I want to encourage you to get bold enough to create for yourself spiritual connections, spiritual friendships, spiritual partnerships. Those are connections where you are willing to challenge each other to grow to your highest level, where you don't give up or you don't check out because it gets difficult, but you dig in and you do your own work. That is what TT and I have done for each other, and I hope you get to have the same experience. Listen, I want you to tune in for part 2, which will air next Thursday night at 7, because it is so rich and so full, and I want you to continue to learn. If you are struggling with being emotionally mature, reach out to me at verythoughtfullife.com and schedule a free consultation, because I can help you learn to get clear about who you are so you can learn to communicate with yourself better, more effectively, more lovingly, so that you can create better relationships with others. Thanks for watching.